Hey everyone, how you all doing today? And welcome back to another meta guide. So we have the Open Master League. So the Open Master League as well as the Keller Cup, that will continue on for another week. Gonna happen tomorrow, so let me know which meta you're gonna be playing. A lot of you are probably gonna say the Keller Cup just because the Master League. I like the Master League, but it's so inaccessible for a lot of trainers, and I totally get it, right? But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and dive right into things. Maybe you have the resources, and if you do, join me for this ride, right? So I actually hit veteran in the Master League this season, surprisingly, because usually I don't do well in the Master League, even though I do have a lot of resources and a lot of Pokemon built. But let's go ahead and dive right into it. So for the S-Rank Zygarde Complete, of course, going to be fantastic. So I use my Zygarde Complete for the Ultra League. I'm not going to invest Rare Candy XLs, because if they ever release more, maybe when the new Legend ZA game comes out for the Switch, that will feature Zygarde. Maybe when that comes out, then we'll get another Zygarde. I want to try and get a better one for Master League. I don't want to dump the Rare Candy XLs into the one I currently have. Granted, the one I have is not bad. It's 14 attack, so it's actually not a bad one. But if they release another one, I could get a hundo. Maybe they'll release it in raids. Wishful thinking, right? I would love that. But either way, of course it would be the 10% form. You'd still have to walk routes even if they did that. But I'm just saying, I would love to get more Zygarde Complete and try to get a hundo, essentially. Or at least close to it, 98, 96, something like that, right? But next up we have Palkia Origin. This Pokemon is fantastic. So this is so much better, by the way, than the original Palkia. The original Palkia is still actually not a bad one. But if you go in with one of them, you definitely want the Origin form. I have a functional hundo, so I'm really happy with that. I got it at GoFest in New York City last year, and it's fantastic, right? It has the special move, Spatial Rend. You definitely want it. If you're lucky trading for these, definitely ask for the move, because you cannot Elite TM the move onto it. I would not lucky trade for it if it does not have the move, so definitely recommend doing that. Fantastic choice. And then we have Yveltal. So Yveltal, of course, got Sucker Punch. So Sucker Punch got updated last season, right? And Yveltal has been so good ever since then. And I actually lucky swapped for one and became a hundo. Let's go. So really, really great Pokemon. Love to see it. Next up, we have Solgaleo. You know what? Obviously, so I don't have enough XLs. I have enough Rare Candy XLs, but the reason I'm not putting it into this is because I don't have a good Solgaleo that I want to build. But this Pokemon is really strong. It has, this season, I guess it has something to watch out for. That Rhyperior is so common. Landorus is actually pretty common as well. So it does have threats, right? But it's still fantastic. It's a fantastic Pokemon. And I would love to build one as well. This is one I am missing. And then we have Necrozma Duskmane. So this is better than the Dawn Wings, in my opinion. And it's such a good one. Like this is why this one, as well as Yveltal and the other Necrozma, are the reason why we don't see Mewtwo anymore, right? Mewtwo is or Giratina Origin, right? I still have them on the rankings, but they really, really need to avoid these Pokemon, because Sucker Punch, powerful move, Shadow Claw, right, which the Necrozma forms have, very powerful, so they just eat right through Mewtwo, but they're really powerful in general. Just these Necrozma forms. Shadow Claw probably needs to be nerfed, I'm going to be honest with you. That was one of the moves that they did not hit last season, surprisingly. And then we have Rhyperior. Hey, Rhyperior has Mud Slap. It also has Rock Record. Those are the moves that you definitely want. And then you could... I've been running Breaking Swipe on it, and I feel like that is the most common moveset. But I've also seen Surf. And Surf is good for opposing Rhyperior, right? Because a lot of times Rhyperiors, they don't need the shield. They don't want to shield the Breaking Swipe. Rock Record is resisted. You don't have to shield that. But you could kind of surprise them with Surf. So Surf over Breaking Swipe is definitely very viable. Really up to you if you want to go that route. But I think both moves are good. Again, I've been running Breaking Swipe whenever I use Rhyperior, but Surf is obviously an option. But it's mainly used for, well, opposing Rhyperior, but also Landorus as well. So it definitely does have some play. Really up to you. And then we have Ho-Oh. Love using my Hundo Ho-Oh. We're also having a Shadow Raid Day coming up, so maybe you can get a good one. Yeah, maybe you can get a good one, and even if you have a good one, maybe you can get the XLs. Definitely worth it, because Ho-Oh is pretty good. Now, you know, it's funny, because the moves are resisted by Rhyperior, right? If you're running Incinerate, Sacred Fire, and Brave Bird, all of those are resisted by Rhyperior, and then, of course, Rhyperior has Rock Record, which will one-shot a Ho-Oh. But I have seen Ho-Oh with Earthquake, and I have seen it with Solar Beam. So you could choose one of those moves, probably Sacred Fire plus Solar Beam, if you want to. I personally have not been doing that whenever I ran Ho-Oh. I've been running the Brave Bird on it. But if you want to go after Rhyperior, it really depends on your team. That could be a good way to go. Next up, we have the Dialga Origin. You know, I actually have a 98 Dialga Origin, but guess what? It does not have Roar of Time. I did the move, not the move. I did the raid leading up to, the Wild Area event. I got a 98, couldn't believe it, no Roar of Time. So a little bit unfortunate there, but you know what? This Pokemon I'm not like in desperate need of wanting to build because it does get answered a lot. There's a lot of answers to it. I do think it's really good, but yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon that answer it like that Rhyperior, like Landorus. So it's a good Pokemon, but it's one I don't really desperately want right now. Unlike Tapu Bulu, this is one I really wanted for, and I did Lucky Trade it, and I got a 98. So I have a Bulu built, and I think Tapu Bulu is absolutely fantastic. It core breaks so many teams. I've battled teams that are triple weak to it, ABA weak to it. It's just such a fantastic Pokemon. I mean, look at it. It's going to do well against all the dragons, right? Maybe not necessarily Dialga, but you still have play there because you debuff it with Nature's Madness. But yeah, generally speaking, the dragons, Yveltal is kind of like a double-edged sword because you're weak to Oblivion Wing, but they're weak to Nature's Madness. But I think it does favor the Yveltal, that matchup. But yeah, I mean, it's going to do well against Rhyperior, so it's generally a great pick. And a fantastic one, and I love using my Tapu Bulu. Moving on to the A rank, we do have Florges. Okay, Florges in the Master League, it's pretty good. It's not one of the fairies you see most of the time. I mean, most of the time when you talk the Master League, you'll see Florges in the Premier Cup, the Master Premier Cup. And it is pretty common there, but Master League not as common, but it's still a decent fairy type, especially if you don't have some of the legendaries like Zacian and Xerneas. Those are definitely going to overshadow Florges, but if you don't have those, I think Florges is a good way to go. Then we have Kyurem. Okay, Kyurem does have Dragon Breath, but it also has Glaciate. It has Glaciate, so think Icy Wind. It will debuff your opponent's attack. I like this Pokemon a lot, to be honest with you. I think this is a fun Pokemon. You don't see it too often. I'll probably start using this. Well, the Univitor is going to introduce us to Black and White Kyurem, so we'll see how those are. Those are most likely going to be really strong, whereas Kyurem probably won't see much play outside of the Black and White versions of it, right? But then we have another Necrozma, the Dawn Wings. Again, I do think the other Necrozma, the Duskmane, is better. This one is double weak to ghost attacks, right? So it's going to be double weak to the Shadow Claw from Necrozma if you're going head-to-head against it. So something you have to keep in mind. Still a fantastic pick, though. One I personally have built as well. And then we have Landorus. Yes, Mudshot was nerfed, but still, I mean, Mudshot is doing a little bit more damage. Even though it was nerfed, takes a little bit longer to get to. It's still a fantastic Pokemon. It still gets the Sancia Storm really fast. It takes 6 Mudshots, and the Mudshot damage is no joke as well. Then we have Palkia, the regular version. I see really I do think this one is decent, but I see no reason to run this if you have the Origin Palkia. If you happen to have a hundo of this one, the regular one, but you don't have the Origin, then I could understand using it. But other than that, probably don't want to use it. Next up, Giratina Altered. Okay, I like this one. It's just, it kind of suffers the same fate as Mewtwo and the other Giratina, right? It's going to be weak to the Shadow Claws from Necrozma, as well as the Dark Pulse. It's going to be weak to the Sucker Punch from Yveltal, and those are really common, those Pokemon. Then we have a couple fairies, Zacian and Xerneas. Or Xerneas, Zacian. Yeah, both of them pretty good. I mean, Geomancy, of course, is a great fast move. Ever since it was introduced, it helped this Pokemon out a lot, and it does get to Moonblast Close Combat. That's the moveset you want. As for Zacian, well, you know what? I personally have been enjoying... I think Quick Attack is generally the way to go over Snarl, but I've also been enjoying Wild Charge plus Play Rough, but Close Combat, definitely an option. You could go Close Combat plus Wild Charge if you want to. If you do, Landorus will be resisting all those moves should you battle Landorus, but no, I mean, these fairies are super common, both Zacian and Xerneas. Moving on to the B rank, we do have Galarian Moltres. I have 3 Galarian Moltres. I caught 1 during the wild area, and I caught 2 the different times. No shiny, unfortunately, but none of them have good stats for Master League. I'm trying to get... Well, I don't need a perfect one because I know it's very difficult to get, but... I mean, you know what? Maybe I could Lucky Swap one. Actually, you know what? That's a good idea. Maybe I'll Lucky Swap one of them. Because then, even if I get minimum 12, 12, 12... I'll probably get a little bit better than that, but that's as low as it would go. So that's actually a good idea. I actually like that idea. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that idea, because I do want a better one for Master League. I was like, how am I going to get it? Lucky trading is a good way to go. And because if I have 3, maybe I could find someone that is willing to do it. But I do want the shiny, though. Next up, we have Dragonite. Okay, another dragon type. We do have better dragons. But if you don't have some of these legendaries like Palkia, Dialga, Zygarde especially, right? then our Dragonite could be used. But again, it's kind of like Florget's going to be better in the Master Premier. Marshadow, okay, Marshadow, you know, it's funny because Marshadow was decent with Counter, and then Counter was nerfed, but Sucker Punch was buffed, so now it's actually pretty good with Sucker Punch. So, unfortunately, the one Marshadow I got is not good, so that is unfortunate. So I'm probably not going to invest my Rare Candy XLs, but then we have Mewtwo. I think Mewtwo used to be a great lead. It used to also be a great safe swap, but now not so much. Because here's the thing, like, if you safe swap it, sometimes in the past, you know, Giratina Origin would come out, which generally is not good. But the thing is, the Giratina Origin still has the shield for fear of the Shadow Ball. So you still have to play with Mewtwo. Side Strike still going to do a lot to it, even though they're doing super effective damage to you. But now if Yveltal comes in, if you're running Psyshock or Side Strike, Shadow Ball, you're not going to be able to touch that Yveltal. Necrozma is going to be difficult as well. So Mewtwo definitely fell a lot. I still put it in the B rank. Maybe next season I'll have in the other options. It really depends. But I don't see Mewtwo much for that reason. And then we have Lugia. So Lugia, okay, another Pokemon that suffers the same fate. It's going to be weak to the Shadow Punch. It's going to be weak to the Shadow Claw. I don't want to base everything based on just those Pokemon, but those Pokemon are so common. And Lugia also, I mean, obviously Sky Attack was nerfed, so that also affected it as well. Lugia has its bulk going for it, but other than that, it's kind of going to be weak. I mean, it's not a Dragon type, so it's going up. If it's going up against opposing Dragon types, it's dishing out super effective damage. That's good. Lugia, again, it used to be a great safe swap, but again, you know there's going to be an Yveltal or one of the Necrozmas in the back, so Lugia kind of really fell off, but it's still okay. I could see it coming back into the meta at some point. Then Giratina Origin kind of talked about this. Primarina, love using this Pokemon. You could run Waterfall. You could run Charm. Really depends on your team. I have been seeing a decent amount of Waterfall ones for the Rhyperior plus Landorus core. Or maybe not the core, just like one of those. I have seen Double Ground as well, but if you're not talking about Double Ground, just one of them at the very least. But I've actually been running Charm. I actually hit Veteran this season with Kyogre plus Primarina, but Primarina had Charm and Kyogre, of course, had Waterfall. Then we have Enamorus. So Enamorus, this Pokemon is so inaccessible because it was released last year on Valentine's Day for an Elite Raid. So I only did 3 of them, and at the time, I don't think it was good. So yeah, I'm hoping they bring it back because I do want a good one, but I also want the XLs for it. So I'm looking forward to this one as well. But let's move on to the other options. We have Meloetta. So Meloetta is really tanky. But again, we only have one. We're getting another one during the Unova Tour. So if you don't have a good one, it's probably not worth investing in the Rare Candy XLs. Maybe the shiny one you get will be better. Maybe it won't be. Who knows? But mine is absolute trash, like the IVs. So what do I have to lose, right? Then we have Reshiram. Okay, so Reshiram is generally known to be using Dragon Breath, but it could also run Fire Fang as well. Now, Fire Fang was buffed this season. But again, Dragon Breath is not bad, but there's better dragons. And then we have Tapu Lele with Astonish. Of course, that move was buffed, and so this is actually a pretty decent Pokemon. Astonish plus Nature's Madness. Think about it. I mean, you're debuffing your opponent. I have 398 Booloos, and I think I have almost enough XLs. I'll have to go and check. I could actually probably build this and use it. But then we have Zekrom. Okay, Zekrom, another one. Dragon Breath plus Fusion Bolt, I believe it's called, the signature move. Not a bad one. And then we have Groudon. Groudon with Precipice Blades. Yes, Mudshot was nerfed. You could run this with Dragon Tail as well. And then we have Zarude. Zarude as one of the only grass types. Bulu. Bulu is a great grass type. But Zarude is another great one. I didn't put Venusaur on this list, but I'm going to tell you, I was running a team that was completely core broken by Venusaur, and I battled the Venusaur, and it completely destroyed me. Because I was core. I had like Rhyperior, Palkia. I guess Palkia is not core broken by it. Maybe it wasn't Palkia, because I know I was completely core broken by it one time. But that's going on a rant about Venusaur, I guess. And then we have Heatran. Heatran could be a lot of fun with Fire Spin, Magma Storm. And then we have Dracopult with Astonish. I'm just going to wait for the community day. I know it's going to be over a year before we get it, but probably a year and a half at this point. We'll probably get a community day for Dreepy. I don't have a Hundo. I don't have the XLs. To me, it's worth waiting. And then we have Metagross. Okay, Metagross is a fantastic pick. Even though it's not as common in the Master League, it's really common in the Master Premier, but it's still pretty good in the Open Master League. I've used it myself, and I've battled it myself. Kyogre with Waterfall, yes, Surf was nerfed. It is doing more damage. It takes a little bit longer to get to, but still the Waterfall damage is tremendous. And then we have Togekiss as a Charm user, and then we have Hisuian Avalugg, which... not a bad Pokemon. I've actually battled this myself. Now we're going to move on to the solid team options. So for the first team, we'll be Landorus with Palkia and Dialga Origin, both Origin forms. I've battled this team so many times. I've also seen it with ABA Dragon. So for example, Dialga in the lead with Landorus and Palkia in the back, something like that. You could go that route if you want. Obviously, you don't want a Fairy type in the lead. But if you happen to battle, let's say you have Dialga in the lead, if you happen to battle a Fairy type, at least you have Iron Head, like Zacian or Xerneas. So it's not going to be too bad. That's why I like having Dialga in the lead. It'll be okay, right? Because you're taking neutral damage from the Fairy type attacks, and you also have super effective damage as well. But yeah, I'm pretty strong team throughout the seasons. Then we have Double Fairy with Ho-Oh in the lead. So of course, backline not going to like Steel. But if you're the Ho-Oh, you're going to really appreciate Steel types as well. And then, yeah, we have Close Combat and Zacian. Oh, no, not Zacian. Xerneas, excuse me. Xerneas, and then probably Wild Charge, Play Rough on the Zacian. Next up, we have Duskmane Necrozma with double Sucker Punch users. So this might be a difficult team to get because Galarian Moltres is on it, but Galarian Moltres and Yveltal. Obviously, the backline hates fairies, but the Duskmane does really well against fairies. The backline... or the Duskbane hates like Rhyperior, for example, but the backline is going to resist the Mud Slap damage. But you still have to watch out, obviously, with the backline for that Rock Wrecker. Next up, we have another team. We have Rhyperior with Kyogre and Primarina. So Waterfall on the Kyogre, and then I like Charm on the Primarina. Now, this is the team I hit Veteran with. I might not have used Rhyperior. I might have used Tapu Bulu. I'm trying to remember. But I either used one of them. I think it was Bulu. I could be wrong. I don't know. But either way, I think it works with Bulu. I think it works with Rhyperior as well. Yeah, I mean... obviously, if you hard lose the lead, right, then you're going to switch out. But other than that, if you don't, let's say you do lose the lead. Let's say there's like a Landorus in the lead, then you will safe swap to the Primarina. I've been using Primarina as a safe swap in this team. Not a lot of Steel types, I'm going to be honest, unless if it's Steel plus Dragon like Dialga. I mean, obviously, Duskbane would be a problem. That is a Steel type. Metagross really not that common in this meta, but again, Primarina is a water type and a fairy type, so it's not weak to Steel. It's just the Charm is resisted. But either way, I think this is a fantastic team to climb with. It is pretty expensive, but you only got one legendary on it, so something to keep in mind. Then we have another team. We have Tapu Bulu with Rhyperior and Palkia. I've used this team as well and did well. I've also used the same team with Rhyperior in the lead. You could use any of these in the lead, I think. And then the final team is going to be Primarina in the lead with Dialga Origin and Zacian. So Zacian makes a pretty good safe swap. But with that being said, that is the Open Master League. Again, let me know which meta you're going to be playing down below, and let me know if it's definitely going to be that Color Cup. But either way, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.